So yeah, I'm done with school. Not much to say about that. Anyways, what's up guys, mine's Pastel and welcome to another RPG Maker Envy tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about Tokyo Mirage Sessions and recreating some of its skills. Or rather, in this case, the special performances, because the skills of Tokyo Mirage Sessions are basically any Atlas skills, to be honest. They don't really usually have additional effects. But yeah, something to take into consideration for this one is there will be many skills that, well, mostly in the next video, that'll be extremely different from their original incarnations, including the next point I bring up. In the original game and several Alice games, actually I think it's only in this game, there will be a buff for hit and evasion. However, in this case, we'll be just using the agility buff, just to keep things nice and simple. And anyways, with that said, we shall begin the tutorial. So it's time to talk about the plugins. However, 3 of them are pretty much used for this tutorial, and the other 3 are kind of well, you'll see. The 3 we're using are Buff and States Core, which is going to be used for one particular script and nothing else besides that in particular. Lifesteal, which is going to be used for one skill and nothing besides that in particular. And Instant Cast, which is going to be used for several skills. Anyways, the other 3 that we're going to be technically using are Standard Turn Battle System, which is right here. It's not required, but to keep the feel of the original game, and not sure if this is gonna mess up. Because if you use any other battle systems, I'm not sure how it would mess up. Because it might mess up some of the skills. I'm not sure. And the other 2 are Party Limit Gauge, which is somewhere. Here it is. This is so that we have actual cost for the skills, and it'll just have basically a similar feel to the original game. And then we have the action sequence packs, which at this point I'm gonna put them in every single skill, or every single tutorial at this point. The final thing to take consideration is the fact that I have an item that heals 300 points of the party limit gauge by default, otherwise known as 3 of its bars, which is here. Nothing too special, but I thought that should be taken into consideration because it is in the tutorial preview. I just reskinned the potion, that's all. Anyways, let's get on to it. Alright, time to talk about the first half of the states, being Confused, Charm, Stun, and Poison. Confused, Charm, and Stun are actually going to be used for actual skill effects. However, Poison is merely for the fact that one of the skills will be recovering all ailments, and Poison just seems to be a lot more simpler than Confused, Charm, and Stun, which will hinder movement. Anyways, other things to take into consideration for this tutorial in general is that any skill that says that, in particular, that certain buffs, or rather not buffs, certain states will be lasting for several turns. I don't think I actually changed the buff duration for this tutorial. That might be a mistake. That's probably a mistake on my part, but for the sake of the tutorial, I think it goes faster if I leave the buff duration as it is. However, in this case, if a skill says that a particular state is going to be applied for 3 turns, I bump it up to 4 turns, as seen here. Another thing to take into consideration is that one of the other skills actually has a variable and a common event tied to it. Well, 2 common events. Variable 71, one of them common events being used to reset it, and the other being RNG, which we'll explain in detail a lot later. But for now, let's talk about the other states that we have, or at least 3 of them. Alright, 3 of the states, because the other 3 are actually for the next video, are Additional Turn, Charge, Gaia's Whisper version, and Ailment Block. Additional Turn. This is where Instant Cast and the Buff and States Core comes into play. Removal conditions include Remove a Battle End. We'll have a message appear. Using the plugin Instant Cast, we'll have some notes that make it so all skills and items will be instant for this particular character. This is important because, well, it allows for basically any action for any character to, well, that character gets to act again after using, well, in this case, at least one skill or item. However, a problem arises, as you may remember, when using an instant skill, you'll still be able to use an instant skill after that. So, we use Buff and States Core to fix that. We're gonna use the note tag for Custom Action End Effect, which will activate upon finishing any action of any sort, including items and skills. And the user will be removing states, well, this state, which is 71. And this script was actually, the script for removing states was copied/cutted from the power charge script, which we will see later because that will be the only tips and tricks for this particular video. There are tips and tricks for the next video, but I haven't worked that out yet. And instacast does not affect action to end timing, so if you use an instacast item or skill, it won't let the action end duration decrease. Cell script is needed. Charge, the only thing, this is basically using the tips and tricks for power charge and mind charge, however just power charge of course in this situation. Changes include removing the states being removed after one physical attack, because we kind of need this to be used for the next 2 turns, which is why we have the turn end set to 3 here. But yeah, basically it's just power charge tips and tricks, just with a few alterations. And ailment block, which is also not that special. Remove a battle end is set to on. Turn durations to 4, because originally it's 3. Will be resistant states for confused, charm, stun, and poison. Of course, this should be fitted to better suit your game. And an alternate use or alternate plugin that you may want to use for this is passive auras. Just giving options here. But yeah, with that said, let's go on to the skills. Alright, it is time to talk about some of the skills. We're going to be talking about 3 of them in this first recording bit, so let's get on with it. Strike a Pose is used by Itsuki, and will grant each party member an additional turn. Not much has changed from the original skill, actually. I tried to recreate it as best as I could. It'll be sent to instance because, well, it also allowed the user to get an additional turn, and it also costs 2 party limits. Oh, also these party limit costs are equivalent to the original game, so yeah. However, in this case, the party limit is there so that you're not ending up using Strike a Pose multiple times, which probably can break the game. Anyways, not much about the action sequence except for the fact that State 71, which is additional turn, will not be applied to the user actually. It'll only be used to be applied for the actors that aren't the user, because the user already has the instacast. So, not much to say else about that. Debut Smile is probably going to be the simplest skill in this entire, well, actually there's another one later that's even simpler. 2 of them actually. Debut Smile will be recovering 50% of the party's HP and raising the defense, magic defense, and agility stats for 3 turns. In the original game, defense and magic defense are put together, and so are attack and magic attack. So there's that. Anyways, we'll be having a simple formula for HP recovery, being the target's max HP divided by 2. No variance because we don't want it to be well, having any variance. It's not good to have variance for this type of skill, especially when it says exactly 50% of party's HP. It'll be adding these particular buffs. I don't know why I repositioned that, but oh well. It'll cost 1 party limit. Its scope will be all allies. And besides that, there's not really much to say about it. It'll just have a simple action sequence here, playing animation and having an action effect, as per usual. The final one for this recording bit, Gaia's Whisper, will grant the user charge for 2 turns and raise the attack, magic attack, and agility stats of all allies for 3 turns. Yeah, it's very similar to Debut Smile in that scope is all allies. It'll just be having a buff, or several buffs actually. The cost will be 2, however. Especially, just like Strike a Pose, it wouldn't make sense for the user to be able to use this particular skill twice in a row. Motion Chant user, Motion Attack user, you got your typical stuff here. Only thing to take into consideration is that not only will you have action effects, you'll also be adding State 73 to the user, so that they will be gaining charge for 2 turns, as, well, again, it's the power charge tips and tricks from Yamfly. I don't know why I said as like that, because never mind. Anyways, with that said, the last 4 skills, which are, okay, I say the last 4, there's like 6 of them, but I'll explain that later. Alright, the final 6 skills, because yes, there are 6, because one of them actually has 3 support skills, I don't know why. Kiria's only skill that I have for now is actually the most complicated one out of this entire list, well, for this video. Pastel Power inflicts charm, or confuse, charm, or stun on all enemies, and will recover all ailments, which is what's seen in this effect box here, because we'll be applying the confuse, charm, and stun in the actual action sequence. Scope will be all enemies, but again, just for the action sequence. Quick thing to note here, in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, you can only have one state at a time. Usually if you have another state applied to when someone else has a different state, it'll usually override it. In this case, however, it's just going to nullify the added state, which is what can be seen here. However, first we're going to apply common event 30. As stated earlier, it's just a reset common event. Now, if the target is affected with Confuse, or Charm, or Stun, it'll do absolutely nothing. Same goes if it uses Poison, but sure. Otherwise, common event 31 will be taken into, or will be done to set a random number between 1 and 3. And if it turns out to be 1, it'll be applying a Confusion animation and a state. And same goes for Charm and Stun respectively. At the end, the action effect will be applied to allies and not the original scope, so that it removes Confuse, Charm, Stun, and Poison. Alright, Horror Hunter Angel is very simple. It drains HP and MP from one enemy and inflicts, I think that's Charm. I'm pretty sure it's Charm. In this case, however, it's going to just do about 25% of the target's max HP and have 20% variance. I made an element called Almighty, but it's not really important here. It's going to cost 1 party limit. And quick note, in the original game it was steal both HP and MP. We cannot really exactly do that here, because we can only have it drain HP and MP, but not deal damage to both HP and MP. I'm pretty sure, unless there's a thing I'm not aware of. So this skill is just in particular going to deal damage to HP. Anyways, we're going to drain exactly that. 100% of HP of the damage as HP and 100% as MP. Other than that, we have the same exact conditional branch as used before. The difference being that if they have no status effect, then it'll play an animation and inflict Charm. Alright, Microwavin Heart and Microwavin Soul are very similar. Microwavin Heart affecting all allies and restoring 100% of their HP. As is for Microwavin Soul, it's also instant cast. Besides that, not really much to take into consideration. Heals all HP. Microwavin Soul is basically the same thing, however, it's targeting all fallen allies and healing 100% of their HP. So the scope will be all allies that are dead, playing animation, removing the state for knockouts, recovering the same amount, and this section is actually the exact same for Microwavin Soul. Raindrop Memories will be increasing attack, defense, magic attack, defense, and magic defense of all allies and blocking ailments for 3 turns. Scope will be all allies. This will play the shield animation, which makes sense. We'll be having a little action sequence here. However, nothing too special. Ailment block is just gonna block all ailments. And the final one's Mysterious Student, which is gonna inflict stun on all enemies and allow you to act again. Just as per usual, insta-cast. Party limit cost is 1. Has the same conditional branch, and if none of them are applied to the target, or any of the targets for that matter, it'll play the stun animation and add the stun states. And with that said, it is time for the demonstration after these extremely long explanations. Alright, it is time for the demonstration, and I started talking just after I pressed the button Runefire in case editing purposes. Anyways, we had 3 party members being Runefire, Herald, and the Wizard. However, Runefire is the only one in possession of all 9 skills. Herald has skills, but they're for the next tutorial, and I barely started working on that a few days ago, so nothing much to take into consideration for Herald's sake. However, once the battle begins, so the Wizard is dead, and all allies had the poison status inflicted. As you can see, Runefire has every single skill. Herald's purpose is basically just to use the Clap Track 3, which is just gonna heal 3 bars at the party limit. Anyways, let's get started. Using Striker Pose, every party member will be granted an additional turn. At least those that are alive, at least. Not the Wizard. Alright, and Runefire is able to act again. We're gonna have an attack, and Herald will be able to do 2 actions. So we'll attack once, and we'll be using the Clap Track once. Nice. Productive. Alright. Debut Smile heals 50% of HP, and raises defense, magic defense, and agility. Nothing special here, your typical buffing skill and healing skill. As you can see, the defense, magic defense, agility are healed on the bottom there. I am gonna be skipping through these turns because for simplicity's sake and display's sake, it makes it a lot easier. Gaia's Whisper will grant charge to the user for 2 turns and raise the party's attack, magic attack, and agility. Now the charge state doesn't actually have a display for it, so there's that. We're gonna be using the clap track now. Runefire is gonna attack 3 times actually, so we can display that. Well, that animation plays when the charge effect is activated, so that should be taken into consideration. And if Runefire attacks again, nothing will happen. Or at least the power charge won't be effective. He'll still do damage, of course. Now, Pastel power will inflict confuse, charm, or stun all enemies and cure all the party's ailments. We use it, and well, actually it did stun towards both of them, but it's quite random, so anyways, poison is now removed, so we're gonna use Clap Track once again. We're also gonna skip through the stun because we don't want it to display anymore. Horror Hunter Angel will drain HP and MP from one enemy and inflict charm. Use it on his first spin right here, do some damage and heal HP and MP. Play the charm animation and it inflicts charm. Here's another Clap Track, but we're also gonna outlast the charm again. Or not, because actually, yeah, I don't know what happened with that. Something happened. Oh, the wolf. It's set to attack anyone, isn't it? That makes sense. We're gonna outlast the charm, as stated per usual. All right. Microwavin Hearts will restore 100% of the party's HP and allow you to act again. Very simple. Very nice. We're gonna use Microwavin Soul to revive all fallen allies and heal their HP to 100%. Nice. And we can also move again. Alright, Raindrop Memories will raise the party's attack, defense, magic attack, and magic defense, and ailments are blocked 3 turns. I don't have an easy way to show this, so you'll have to take my word on it, but I'm pretty sure it does work according to the state traits. I'd outlast the remaining of these skills, but I'm just gonna use the Clap Track 3. I'm gonna be using Mysterious Student anyways, so it doesn't really matter, which will inflict stun on all the enemies and allow these to act again. Putting the stunning animation and inflicting stun, as expected. With that said, the demonstration is now over, and we'll be going to the outro. See you guys then. Alright, that is half of the special performances found in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I was planning on doing this tutorial on Tuesday, or uploading on Tuesday actually, but somewhere down the point it was either I got really tired or it was way too hot to record, because I recorded the night, but even then the heat was getting to me. I hope you liked the video. If you liked it, please consider dual slashing the like button or sending a blast that subscribe button. I'm not done talking yet, but we'll get into it later. Yeah, so there's not much to talk about here, but I'm done with school. I have time. There are videos planned for the future. I have a tutorial planned for after the second part of this tutorial. It's gonna be on the chiller side, so it's gonna be extremely easy. But I thought I should just put it out there. Final thing is, you may be wondering what my opinion of this particular game is. I will tell you, it is in my opinion one of the more underrated games, because I actually just finished the game for 100%, beating it on hard mode and lunatic mode and getting all the play records. It was extremely exciting, but it took 105 hours, but in-game time only registered to 87. If I took a picture of it, I'll put it right here in case I want to. But yeah, it took me 87 hours. Anyways, with that said, this video is over. See you guys, and stay safe.